Shabbat Shalom. Please find a seat. We're going to begin in about 1 minute. Shabbat Shalom. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see everyone. Wow. And be together this morning as we celebrate Shabbat and of course celebrate all of our wonderful friends becoming adult bar and bat mitzvah during our services today, and wishing all of them and their families and their friends and our wonderful community mazel tov on this accomplishment. I'm going to invite everybody to turn their cell phones off, silent, vibrate if you're on call, I guess, but please turn them off. That would be awesome. Our service for this Shabbat is our morning service, but we also invite our adult bar and bat mitzvah to provide us with what are called iyunim. And iyun is a meditation, a thought, idea about a particular prayer in this case. And so throughout the service, before or after certain prayers, members of our adult B'nai Mitzvah class will be coming to the pulpits and reading their thoughts about what that prayer means to them as they've gone through this process. Two other very small items. Number one is this is not a performance. We want you to sing and pray and enjoy Shabbat, so please participate. And number two is we have a fabulous professional photographer. We are live streaming. This will be available for our B'nai Mitzvah. The recording will, after services, after it's all fixed up. Please do not take any pictures. There's no need to. We've got that covered for you. And we don't want to mess with the sanctity of the moment with flashes and clicks. And so while it is tempting these days to videotape everything on our phones, no need. It's being taken care of for you with really good cameras. So we have our Sidurim, Mishkan Tefillah. I invite you to turn to page 192 as we begin this wonderful Shabbat with Matovu.
Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu. משכנותיך ישראל, ואני ברוב חסדך אבוא ביתך, אשתחווה אליך לקודשך ביראתך. Everybody now. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
We're so pleased to be joined on the Bima this Shabbat by Jackie Cohen, President of the Board of Directors of Congregation Beth Israel and daughter of one of our adult B'nai Mitzvah, and Steve Bressler, who in addition to being a member of the board and treasurer of our executive committee, is the chair of the Adult Learning Committee, and so they will be helping us out later on. And enjoy. Group 1.
Good morning. My name is Omer Yaniv ben Avraham Becerra. In April of 1649, Tomás Treviño de Sobremonte was burned to death at the stake in Mexico City following the law of Moses. He was a rabbino, a rabbi who circumcised his 2 sons and kept the dietary laws. He was born in Spain and fled the Spanish diaspora into the diaspora of El Nuevo Reino, the New World, after the Inquisition eliminated his mother and elder brother. In my Jewish journey of learning, with the assistance of DNA results and lots of help from Rabbi Google, I have discovered that my antepasados, past generations, were very highly likely Judíos, or Spanish Jews. However, over the centuries, the religion and the way of life were lost. The blessing I chose today is Asher Yatzar, the bathroom blessing, which is also an expression of awe towards God's creation, as we are made in his, her image. This blessing is commonly recited after going to the bathroom to thank God for good health. And is also recited during morning tefillah prayer for its spiritual significance, which you'll see in a little bit. My contemplation for this blessing is as follows. I thank God not only for good health to us all, but for creating us all in his, her image to coexist with each other and others, and to stand upright in harmony as a holy congregation, to say Kaddish for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, and to be responsible for each other so that we may ensure the existence of future Jewish generations. Therefore, I stand before you today to provide a Jewish life example for my beloved children, Rahel Batia, and Benjamin Haim, and others yearning for Judaism. Rabino Treviño de Sobremonte lived in secrecy, and time erased the memory of my antepasados. However, today, through my aliyah and my recent conversion, I have returned to my Jewish roots, and I stand in awe. I stand in awe of God's greatest creation, our holy congregation that I see before me. May we always stand upright and be responsible for each other and to our future Jewish generations to come. L'chaim, thank you, and Shabbat Shalom. We continue on page 194, please, in your seat of readings. Follow with me, please. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar et ha'adam be'chokmah uvara vo nikavim nikavim halulim halulim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh hol basar umafli lasot. Thank you.
What is a miracle? A miracle can be many things. It can be an improbable accomplishment that brings very welcome consequences. Teaching an old dog new tricks is a miracle. Proof is me. Here I am becoming a bat mitzvah. Who would have thought that I could make this accomplishment at my advanced age? Some miracles are everyday happenings that we take for granted. There was a time that I took my 4 wonderful grandchildren for granted, but I was proven wrong, as they are absolutely miracles. They are exceptionally kind and considerate to me. They go above and beyond to please me. They help me without my asking. Most importantly, they telephone me and visit me on their own. They make me feel important and so very loved. To me, this is a miracle. Of course, without my wonderful children, there would not be their offspring. I consider myself so fortunate to have my loving family. I only have one daughter, but she fills the role of many. She telephones me every single day of the year. Am I just lucky, or is this too a miracle? She and my special son treat me so kindly and include me in their lives and with their friends. I also consider this a miracle. Do I take for granted my dear friends, longtime friends that have seen me through happy times and sad times, newer friends that have come into my life that bring me new happiness? No, this too is a miracle. I am so thankful that my children and grandchildren have all embraced Judaism. My eldest grandson is in rabbinical school. My granddaughter teaches 2nd grade Sunday school here at CBI. My next grandson, who is graduating high school, also wants to become a rabbi, and my youngest just had his bar mitzvah last year. Is this beshert, or is it truly a miracle? To my family and friends who are here to celebrate with me today, please know that you are all miracles to me. And the greatest miracle of all is that my late husband Roger's spirit sits on my shoulder and he is with me all the time. And as we move forward, let us take the time to appreciate the small and large miracles we experience in our lives. Please continue on page 198. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lachevei lima lahavikan mein yom uvein laila, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ma'avir asurim, who frees the captive.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokev kukufim, who lifts up the fallen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah ha'aretz al hamayim, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver who strengthens our steps.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish abrumim, who clothes the naked.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hanotem laya'ef koach, who gives strength to the weary.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, ma'avir shana mi'inai, upnuma afapai, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani betzalem Elohim, who's made me in the image of God.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa bat horin, who has made me free.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael, who has made me a Jew.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Otzer Yisrael b'gvorah, who girds Israel with strength.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Oter Yisrael b'tifarah, who crowns Israel with splendor. Choosing this poem was almost reflexive. When the prayers for this morning were being assigned in our B'nai Mitzvah class, and we were asked who wants to read the prayer about daily miracles, I volunteered. At the time my hand went up, I was reminded of something that had recently happened that could have had a very bad outcome, but thank God it didn't, and that was the miracle. Mind you, I didn't need for that thing to happen as a reminder that miracles are all around us. Stuff like this happens to us all the time. The prayer we just chanted together, Nasim B'chol Yom, is about everyday miracles, or miracles every day, and reminds me of one of my favorite sayings. There are only two ways to live your life, as though nothing is a miracle, or as though everything is a miracle. Even if I don't always look at life this way, it's a good reminder to attempt to do so. I like that this poem focuses on that everything about this prayer has a positive spin to it, and that there is no no to be found. This prayer reminds us to simply to pay attention. I like that someone used waking up to the day as a metaphor for waking up to our lives. This prayer takes us out of our heads and reminds us that we are here, we get to wake up every day and go forth and engage. Each day, or as often as we'd like, we get the chance to renew ourselves. One of our mentors also suggested that within the chosen prayer, we identify a word or a phrase that resonates within us. My eyes fell to the word enthusiasm, which is written in the margin. Immediately I thought, how can a prayer that we're supposed to be reciting day in and day out remind us to be enthusiastic? It's almost oxymoronic because of the seeming monotony of it all. Like the movie Groundhog's Day, we wake up, get ready, start the day, and repeat. My mental journey had begun. What does enthusiasm mean? It comes from the Greek word enthusiasmos, from enthus, meaning possessed by a god, inspired. Who knew? Pretty fitting for a prayer. On top of that, the rabbi explained that the Hebrew word for enthusiasm, koach, also means strength, and that also makes sense. It takes strength to remain enthusiastic, especially during these times. Maybe this prayer chose me. I liked it, not only because it reminds us to pay attention and to engage, but to face each day with renewed strength and enthusiasm, and to find the miracles in our lives every day. Shabbat Shalom.
We find Chatzi Kaddish on page 224.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועל מה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וביומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה. בריחו לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירון בעלמה ואמרו Amen.
Let's stand and turn to page 226 for the Baruch Hu.
Yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai, Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Leolam, Leolam Vaed. Praise Adonai, to whom all praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom all praise is due. Praise Adonai, to whom all praise is due. Now and forever. We join together singing Ya la 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 la. Ya la ya la la. Ya la la la, ya la la, ya la ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la.
Let's be seated.
Yotzer Or, the morning prayer, is a 1,500-year-old prayer that still resonates today. It is about the renewal of creation that happens every morning. For me, what this prayer represents is the opportunity to start over, to have a chance at doing better in some way every day. Whatever happens on a given day, there will be a new one to use for reflection and improvement, and that new day begins with the morning. I've always been an early riser. I'm someone who falls asleep early, and when doing so, I look forward to the next morning. It is in those first waking hours of the day that I feel most at peace. The sun has yet to rise, the outside world has yet to begin the activity of both work and play, and I have time to prepare myself for whatever the world needs from me that day. Yotzer Or mentions God filling the earth with creatures. Among those creatures are my favorite, which are birds. Like us, birds generally sleep during the night to wake up with the rise of the sun in the morning. Since getting my own small parrot, named Pele, this creature has been a part of my morning routine as well. Together we sit and enter the daytime, both a part of the creation of the day and given the gift of new opportunities, whether personal, professional, or in her case, strictly culinary. Just like how Shabbat always comes around as a time for peace after a busy and stressful week, a new morning comes after every day and night is finished. And I'm grateful to God for the renewal of this morning and every morning. Shabbat Shalom.
Page 228.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer Or uvorei choshech, Oseh shalom uvorei et hakol.
After 39 years wandering the desert, God gave Moses and the Israelites the Shema. It is fitting that as I near the age of 39, my wandering is culminating in the sharing of the Shema with you. When my husband Alan and I were pregnant with our son Bon, we received a copy of the Shema in Jewish Baby University. We were instructed to color it and to recite the Shema with our children at night. I think many of you have the same experience, and I have ours. This was the first decoration in Bon's room before he was, I guess, the day he was born, and I had to steal it to bring it here today. Over the years, I have watched and heard Alan say the Shema and other prayers with Bon and Felicity before bedtime. Over the years, I've also heard stories about Alan's bar mitzvah, and his sister's bat mitzvah. Bon and Felicity are in Sunday school, and we've already started talking about their and their friends' bar and bat mitzvahs. Through this, I realized that I was a bit of an outsider in my own family. I have been the one without a story to share. I approached Rabbi Kahn about the adult B'nai Mitzvah class because I wanted to have the shared experience of a bat mitzvah with my family. I wanted to be able to understand what Bon and Felicity would go through and to offer them the advice and the assistance I can. The Shema is about listening to God and being a witness to God. For me, it's really exciting that one day I will be a witness for Bon and Felicity and that they are here today to be witnesses for me. As many of you know, I converted 10 years ago. I was born and raised in a religious home and community, just not a Jewish one. The Shema resonates with me because it is about a personal experience and relationship that you have with God. In my mind, it identifies with everyone, regardless of religion or upbringing. It's about a personal choice you have to observe and connect with God, much as my conversion to Judaism and Bat Mitzvah study was a personal choice I made. There's a poem called Listen by Rabbis Jack Reimer and Harold Kushner about the Shema. They say, "May we hear you, O God, for only if we hear you do we have the right to hope that you will hear us. Hear the prayers we offer to you this day, O God, and may we hear them too." My hope is that I and that all of us will continue to be witnesses for God, that we will hear what he has in store for our lives, and that he will hear us and our wishes for our lives as well. Please stand and join me on page 232 for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vayed.
May be seated. Thank you.
The prayer, the Ve'ahavta, is a continuation of the Shema that outlines our obligation to love God unconditionally with all our heart. It commands us to teach this to our children, to mount a mezuzah on our doors, and for men to wear tefillin. For we all certainly can mount a box with a prayer scroll on our doors. We can teach our children to give tzedakah and our husbands to wear a tefillin. But how does one teach unconditional love? Love without any exceptions or conditions attached. We all have the ability to demonstrate and teach our unconditional love for God by just following the commandments. Actions speak louder than words. As we practice the 613 rules outlined in the Torah, we show our love for God. Simple acts like showing kindness, helping our neighbor, observing Shabbat, celebrating holidays, and honoring our elders are all observable actions that show our direct love of God to our children. By making the conscious choice to follow God's laws, they will see and feel that their mitzvot are making a difference in the lives of themselves and others. Now more than ever, we are living in a world where we are surrounded by consumption, intolerance, and hate, which is not a world I want to pass on to my children. As a mother of two very impressionable teens, Marley and Morgan, I want to raise them to be empathetic, tolerant, and determined to make a positive difference in society. That is why I chose to go through the adult B'nai Mitzvah program. I want to lead by example and show my daughters the importance of becoming involved in Judaism. Only by studying and following the words of God can we learn to heal and grow as a society. The most important job as a parent is to pass on the values we hold dear to our children, as they are tomorrow's leaders. We are commanded to recite the Ve'ahavta twice a day in the morning and at night as a reminder of our obligation to follow God's commandments. Only through this constant prayer and studying of God's words will mankind learn the true meaning of unconditional love and how it can impact the world. Okay.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha ve'dibarta bam be'shivtecha b'veitecha u'vlechtecha b'derech u'shokbecha u'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha ve'hayu letotafot beineinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim li'od lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet.
Genesis 28. God gave you of heaven's dew, of earth's boundary, abundant grain, and new wine. Heaven's dew, a sign of God's presence, was that he provided rain, water for the earth, and me to survive. Of earth's boundary, a sign of God's presence, was that he provided me with food to grow and sustain me throughout my many years. And new wine, God's blessings of joy. God truly provided for me with the joys of life, a loving wife for many years that almost didn't happen. I met her Saturday night at a Jewish progressive dinner, and we agreed to meet at a certain intersection in downtown Sacramento on Monday. I waited an hour, no show. I called her that night, and if my anger could have melted the wires, it would have. She replied back, and she was just as angry. We were waiting one block apart. Anger turned to laughter, and Tuesday's lunch was very good. God provided me with beautiful, healthy, and loving children, and I have been truly blessed. God watched over me during my many years on earth. I had scarlet fever at age 4, and my little friend who got it did not survive. I served in the Southwest Pacific in the United States Marine Corps, and I survived. A flight over the North Pole in 1951, where we lost 2 engines before we got over land, and the 3rd engine quit on landing. We rolled to a stop. Everybody exited the airplane, and I wasn't the only one to get down on my hands and knees and kiss the earth. Yes, God provided for the little Jewish boy born in the little town of Scottsdale, Mississippi. who was bar mitzvahed the first time in August 1935 at Temple Beth Israel. There were three of us, Charles Levine, Sonny Block, and me. It was a repeat after me bar mitzvah. We were shown how to put on a tallis and a tefillin, and were told, you are now bar mitzvah. Today is a wonderful day. After all these many years, I finally did it the right way. Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach. Page 240, we celebrate with Micha Mocha.
We join together, Yai la 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 la. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai. Micha mocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot osefele. Nora tehilot osefele. Shira chadasha shibechu geulim. Leshimcha l'sefat hayam. Yachad kulam hodu vehimlichu. Hodu vehimlichu ve'amru yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Adonai imloch leolam vaed. Tzur Yisrael, kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, ufedeichenu mecha Yehuda be'Yisrael, go'aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo, kedosh Yisrael, baruch ata Adonai, gal Yisrael.
The Avot V'Imahot, which literally means fathers and mothers, connect us with the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the matriarchs Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah. This reminds us that we are part of the covenant with God that started with these ancestors. In the words of this blessing, God is identified separately for each ancestor, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, rather than saying the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God is both macro and micro, and what we learn from the Avot is though God is all being, each of us has our own unique relationship. By saying the God of for each ancestor, we are reminded that there is no correct way to think of God. Several years ago, Rabbi Keller suggested I read a book titled Finding God. The book describes the differing opinions, and relationships many of the great Jewish thinkers had, starting with Philo, Maimonides, up to the modern thinkers including Martin Buber, Kaplan, and Abraham Joshua Heschel. After having their individual interpretations about their relationships with God, it's a very inspiring, one of my favorite books. The blessing continues with transcendent God who bestows loving kindness and creates everything out of love. Kindness and good deeds, a covenant, because our ancestors were kind to each other. It is not enough to be Jewish. We as Jews are commanded by Torah to learn the mitzvot and obey them, the message being deeds, not creed. Please stand and turn to page 242.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Adonai שפתי תפתח, ולפי אגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Eloheinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka,
Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon,
Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Ha'ol, Ve'soker Hased Yavod Ve'imahot, U'nevi Geulah Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magid, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'etzat Sarah.
Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh ha'kol
Sarah Mehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechayev Chayim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim, Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar.
Mi chamocha bal gevurot, ulmido melach, melech memid umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'nemanat halech hayot hakol, baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מחום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וכרזה על זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו, אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמינו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גדלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גדלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ואין, כי אל מלך גדול, כי אל מלך גדול, וקדוש אתה, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד לך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ברוך אתה אדוני. האל, האל, הקדוש.
Amen.
So this next prayer is Veshamru, which I've always liked because of its catchy melody. But some of the things it says can be downright odd and confusing. The last line of the prayer translates as, "On the seventh day, God ceased from work and was refreshed." An omnipotent God who wants or needs to rest. That seems like a contradiction in terms. And yet the Torah makes a point of telling us this. Why? Why is that? I'm your standard issue Jewish overachiever. Went to the competitive schools, started my own firm far earlier in my career than most lawyers would ever dream of, regularly take on tables full of evil government lawyers by my lonesome. As you can imagine, this has taken a lot of hard work. And perhaps because of that, I've tended to believe that my success comes in large part from being willing and able to outwork most anyone. So, if Torah were to tell me that King David, for instance, made a practice of resting every 7 days, my response would probably be something along the lines of, yeah, but he only had a kingdom to run, and I have a law firm. God, of course, knows his people have a slight propensity to act as if we were superhuman. And there, I think, lies the real answer to the riddle of why God made such an elaborate point of telling us that even he rested on the seventh day. It's the ultimate trump card to play on those of us who might otherwise be tempted to believe that we have no need to take time for rest and reflection as we engage in our own works of creation, that our own little universes will fall apart if we do. Veshamru also reminds us that Shabbat is a sign for all time between us and God. When Rabbi Kahn says that we are the luckiest Jews in history, I feel that in my heart. Often it must have been very hard for our ancestors to find signs of God in the world of creation. Yet neither poverty nor persecution could prevent our ancestors from treating Shabbat as an opportunity to live like a king and revel in that which is good and beautiful in the world. Good food, good wine, family, friends, and the joy of studying Torah. Yet they did so, even though this must have often meant sacrifice and even at times danger. In contrast, I am surrounded by blessings which would arouse any ancient king's envy. I have even contributed to some of them by my own work of creation. My home may not be a palace, but it is safe, secure, and has central air and running water. Delicious food and wine from around the world are available to me for an affordable price and at the click of a mouse. I have parents who love me, the finest woman I have ever met as a wife. My family and I are in good health. I have a business which gives me freedom and a livelihood. And while there remain those who are dedicated to the destruction of the Jewish people, when I come here to study Torah, the police officer standing outside is not the agent of a hostile government, but a fellow citizen who would give their life to protect my freedom to do so. Appreciating the beauty of this magical world is as easy as looking around. I wonder why I never bothered to do that before. I guess I needed the reminder. You all join me on page 250, otherwise I'm going to feel really awkward singing along. So.
All right.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. בני ובין בני ישראל בני לעולם, רותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. בני
ששת ימים
עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם.
We take some time for our own individual reflection, using either the words that you find in the book or the words of your heart. We'll join together in Kehilah Kedoshah on page 260 in just a few moments.
רצון עם רפי בגול ליבי לפניך יהיו לרצון עם רפי בגול ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני צורי Adonai Tsuri Begoali Adonai Tsuri Adonai Tsuri Adonai Tsuri Begoali Ihiu Lerason Imrefi Begoali Bilefanecha Adonai Adonai Tsuri, Adonai Tsuri, Begoali.
We continue now with Seder Kriyat Torah, the service for the reading of Torah, and all of our adult B'nai Mitzvah will, of course, be Ba'alei Kriyah, chanting from Torah today, which will, of course, be one of the highlights of this morning's service. For those of you who've never been to a synagogue or you're coming and haven't been here in particular, I just wanted to say a couple words about the Torah. It is the most sacred Jewish ritual object. The Torah is handwritten by a sofer or a scribe on parchment paper. It contains the 5 books of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And we are fortunate enough in our congregation to have 5 Sifrei Torah in our Holy Ark, in our Arona Kodesh. It's customary to have a ceremony of this ritual that dates back a couple thousand years, or at least parts of it are echoes from the past. And so it is our pleasure this morning for several honors to call upon our adult B'nai Mitzvah. Sam and Omar will be opening the Holy Ark. Beth, Yetta, and Allison will be holding the Sifrei Torah for our Hakafah when we march around the congregation. If everyone could, please turn to page 362 for the Torah service.
Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai, ve'en kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, Adonai osle'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom.
Please stand.
Av harachamim eitiv avirsonecha et Sion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim tivnei chomot Yerushalayim ki vecha levan batachnu melech el ram venisa adon olamim ki mitzion teitzei Torah ki mitzion teitzei Torah udevar Adonai mirushalayim baruch shenatan Torah Torah baruch shenatan Torah Torah le'amo Yisrael mikedushato Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Gadol Shemo Galul Adonai iti uneromema Shemo yachtav Lecha Adonai Hagitulah Ve'agifurah Ve'hatiferet Ve'hanetzach Ve'hahod Ki chol b'shamayim uvaretz Ki chol b'shamayim uvaretz Lecha Adonai hamamlacha ve'aminaseh lechol erosh Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho Romemu Adonai Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Everybody join us. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. You may be seated.
We're going to do the drosh first.
Okay, I got it. Just scoot it over.
We're going to switch spots. And you should be all set there. Okay.
All right.
Just move it over. Take your time and enjoy.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion is called Toldot, Generations. It begins with the first generation of the covenantal people. Abraham holid et Yitzchak. Abraham begot Isaac. Parsha Toldot has a lot to say about several subjects: parental favoritism, betrayal, disloyalty, and even intermarriage. Most famously, however, Toldot tells the classic story of sibling rivalry. As one of 4 siblings and the mother of 2, looking at you, I can say I've had some experience there. In the story, Isaac's wife Rebekah gives birth to Esau and Jacob, brothers, twins. One becomes a man of the fields, a skilled hunter, who, according to the Midrash, can be brutish and impulsive. The other, a scholarly and quiet man. My son Alex decided that Jacob is a Machiavellian character, cunning and deceitful, doing what is necessary to come out on top. Each side is vying for the favor of their father, and ultimately of stewardship of all future generations who will keep the covenant God made with Abraham. Of course, Jacob prevails, taking his place in the line of our patriarchs. Professor Daniel Elazar points out the rivalry is not a confrontation between good and evil, but a choice between 2 limited and flawed human beings. Professor Elazar also says life is full of hard choices between less than perfect alternatives. Sibling rivalry as a motif has been well represented in the Torah as well as in popular culture. Cain and Abel, Rachel and Leah, Joseph and his brothers, Venus and Serena, Michael and Fredo. Today, as we emerge from our never-ending and increasingly ugly election season here in the U.S., we find ourselves locked in a sibling rivalry of our own. As a country, we have managed to divide ourselves into opposing tribes, declaring, astonishingly, that each side is not just right or wrong, but good or evil. Each side is intractable in the certainty of its own virtue, and positive they alone are deserving of the birthright of governance. I'll leave it to you to decide which side is represented by Jacob and which Esau. Where will our rivalry lead America?
The anger, vitriol, and violence we see now is unsustainable. Some of us come to this Shabbat feeling vindicated. Some of us come with disappointment. I don't think any of us can feel happy or proud about how this election process unfolded. In the following weeks, the Torah will teach us that Jacob and Esau were able to lay aside their anger and embrace peacefully. The Torah says, Esau ran to greet him and embraced him, and falling on his neck, he kissed him, and they wept. The deep-rooted animosity, however, ultimately led to conflict between the descendants of Abraham that continues to this day in the land of Israel. John Perry Barlow, in his lyrics for the Grateful Dead song My Brother Esau, wrote that we are shadowboxing the apocalypse. If we can't find a way to come to a peaceful reconciliation, the future of our democracy is uncertain. It can all fall apart. Leonard Cohen famously wrote in his song Anthem, "Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." This election has been overly contentious, and it feels as though our country has cracked. I sincerely hope that our upcoming generation, our Toldot, will lead us to a time and place where rational and civil debate will be valued over dogma and anger, and where light is allowed to fill in and repair our clearly dark and wounded political system. Imagine what we as a nation will accomplish for ourselves and for the world when we stop shadowboxing the apocalypse and lay our sibling rivalry to rest. Shabbat Shalom.
So it's a pleasure now to call upon all of our adult B'nai Mitzvah for the honor of blessing and reading from Torah. If you're following along, if you took a Plaut commentary, we'll be on page 173. It's also in the sheets. If you were handed sheets on the way in, it would be in there as well. Otherwise, page 173, chapter 25 of Genesis, verse 19 and following. And the cantor will call all of our B'nai Mitzvah up at this time.
Yamdu, 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 habachurim B'nai Mitzvah, Avigail bat Abraham Sarah, Michael ben David veKatrina, Kehilah bat Abraham Sarah, Hannah bat Abraham Sarah, Leah bat Abraham veSarah, Tebel bat Refuel, Wolf veBela Leah, Baila bat David veIris, Omer Yaniv ben Abraham veSarah, Shmuel ben Moshe veIda, Yehudis bat Mutel veMincha, Chazak, Chazak, ונתחזק.
All right, guys. 1, 2, 3.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bakaranu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Ve'ele toldot Yitzhak ben Avraham. Avraham holid et Yitzhak. Vayehi Yitzhak ben Arbaim Shana. Bekachto et Rivka bat Betuel Ha'arami mi Padan Aram Achot Lavan ha'arami, lo leisha.
Vayeter Yitzhak Ladonai Lanohi Ishto Ki Akara Hi Vayeter Lo Adonai Vater Rivka Ishto Vayirotzetzu Habanim Bekirba Vatelech Vatomer Imkain Lamazeh Anochi Vatelech Lidrosh et Adonai.
Vayomer Adonai la Shnei Goyim bevidnek Ushnei leumim mimeayek Yeparedu Ulom milom yeematz Varav yavod sa'ir Vayim leuyameha laleret Vahine tomim vevidna.
Vayetze harishon admoni kulo kearderet se'ar vayikreo shemo esav ve'acharehen Yatsa ahiv ve'yato ohetzet ba'akev esav va'ikra shemo Yaakov va'itzkak ben shishim shana ve'letet otam.
Vayigdalu hanearim Vayehi Esav Ish Yodeach Sayid Ish Sadeh Ve'Yakov Ish Tam Yoshev Ohalim Vayehav Yitzhak Et Esav Ki Sayid Befiv Ve'Rivka Ohevet Et Yaakov.
Vayazed Yaakov Nazid, Vayavo Esav, Min Hasadeh Vehu Ayef. Vayomer Esav El Yaakov, Haliteini na min ha'adom hazeh. Ki ayef anochi, al ken kara shemo Edom.
Vayomer Yaakov Michra Chayom Et Bechoratecha Li Vayomer Esav Hine Anochi Holech Lamut Velamazeh Li Bechorah.
Vayomer Yaakov, Hishava li kayom, Hishava lo, Vayemkor et behorato leYaakov, veYaakov Esav, Lehem, Unezid, Hadashim, Vayehol, Vayeshid, Vayekum, Vayelach, Vayaven Esav, Eta Behorah.
V'yiken l'chai ha-Elohim metal ha-shamarvim u'mishmanmei ha'aretz v'ro dagat v'tirosh.
That's it, thank you. Yabduka amin v'yishtachavu l'ka lumein hebe gavir va'ahecha v'yishtachavu l'ka b'nei imecha arecha arur yom varhecha baruch v'yehai ka'asher kilah Yitzchak lavarech et Yaakov v'yehai ach yatsa Yaakov me'et b'nei Yitzchak aviv v'yasav achiv ba mitzodo.
Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan metoteinu baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Miyotenu Sarov Garachov Leah. Hu Yivarech Abigail bat Avraham Basara, Michael ben David v'Katrina, Gila bat Avraham Basara, Chana bat Avraham Basara, Leah bat Avraham Basara, Taibel bat Refuel, Wolf Bela Leah, Bela bat David v'Iri, Omer Yaniv ben Avraham Basara, Shmuel ben Moshe v'Ida, Yehudis bat Motel v'Minka. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessings to these, your children, who have reached this time of B'nai Mitzvah, who were called to the Torah for the very first time. We celebrate the dedication that brought you, all of you, to this sacred moment today. May God watch over you. May your families continue to give you love and strength, leading you on a continued path of Torah, of Jewish learning, of ma'asim tovim, and of good deeds. May all of you find favor before God and before the entire Jewish people. And together we say, Amen. Before we lift and redress the Torah, we also take a moment to ask for God's blessings upon all of our family and friends who are in need of our prayers for healing on this Shabbat. If you wish to say out loud the name of a loved one, please do so that we can include them in our prayers for healing. Mishabach v'teinu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov miten Zerach Korach V'leah Hu Yivarech v'Yirpeh et Cholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill, those of the names that we have said aloud and those in our hearts. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send all of them a complete healing of body and of spirit. And together we say,
Amen.
Amen. We're going to now call for the honor of lifting the Torah, Omar, and for the honor of dressing the Torah, Lisa and Dana. Everyone please stand as the Torah is lifted. Zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai biad Moshe. Please turn to page 374. It's a pleasure to call Jackie Cohen and Steve Bressler to open the Aron HaKodesh as we return the Torah to the Ark.
יהללו את שם אדוני כי נשגב שמו לבדו הודו על ארץ ושמיים וירא קרן עמו תהילה לכל חסידיו לבני ישראל עם קרובו הללויה הללויה עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה וצומחך מאושר דרכך דרכי נועם בכל נתיבותיך שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש חדש ימינו חדש ימינו כקדם.
Please be seated. We've got a few presentations now, just like all of our bar and bat mitzvahs. We'll have some gifts. I don't think we'll be giving you a certificate for Camp Stein, but I know that we all wish that we could get one. But it's a pleasure to welcome Jackie Cohen, President of our Board of Directors, to share a few words with our Adult B'nai Mitzvah class.
Maybe if I go, well, I'll just go this way and you can hear me behind me, right? So, Yasher Koach, all of you, and Hardy Mazel Tov. You know, I think we all can acknowledge and recognize that as adults going to do something that you should have done when you were much younger, it's much more complicated everyone's lives. They're working, they have children, grandchildren. Some of them play Maj and Canasta. But putting forth the effort and doing this at this age is just admirable. And a lot of you had family woven throughout your speeches. And I just want to share with you right now that your congregational family is so inspired by you and motivated that I know, because people have already come to me and talked to me and saying that they want to become adult bar and bat mitzvahs because of all of you. So you guys are, as was mentioned earlier, leading by example, but you're leading by example for your own congregation. So I just want to say that to you, and this is just a wonderful day. So as you know, our congregation is going to be turning 100 very shortly, which is obviously historic. And as you know, me as president, it's historic to be up here when my mother is becoming bat mitzvah. So of course I have to say a few words and to her, share with you, and I hope that everybody on the Bima will understand and allow me just to say a couple words about my mom. Rabbi Khan, sorry. Anyhow, so my mom grew up in an Orthodox home. It was very old-fashioned. She grew up with immigrant parents, and girls were not formally educated. She had an older brother, so he was kind of the end-all, be-all. So as a daughter, she learned Shabbat, she learned how to cook, which is why she cooks so well now. Never was formally educated Jewishly. My father grew up 4 of 5 boys, and by the time it was time for his bar mitzvah, the story goes that they didn't have enough money, and he was never a bar mitzvah. We moved it here and joined this congregation, which was on Flower Street in 1971. And it was very important for my parents, especially my dad, to join a synagogue. So I am the oldest, I have 2 younger brothers, and we were all bar and bat mitzvah here at Congregation Beth Israel in the old pews on Flower Street, which are in the chapel right now. And my parents sat and watched from the congregation and fell. So many of you know my dad passed away almost 29 years ago. And my mom, I wasn't going to get emotional, but, pardon me, she said that she always wanted to say Kaddish for my dad, and she was never able to read the Hebrew. And I want you guys to know that that is why she really became a bat mitzvah today, so she can read the Hebrew and say Kaddish for my dad. So I now sit here and I fell for my mom, who became a bat mitzvah at the same place that I became a bat mitzvah, my brothers, and her grandchildren. So, Shabbat Shalom.
I was trying to see if I could speak to all of you and the congregation. Are you all able to hear me? Well, after Rabbi Khan asked me to make some remarks to you, I asked around as to what I should say. And I was told there was a script developed for the board members presenting to bar and bat mitzvahs youth, and I should follow that. So here it goes. Mazel tov to you chronologically advanced youngsters on becoming B'nai Mitzvah. You are now adults in the Jewish community. I hope you will stay involved and participate in Mayan next year. But as you know, in actuality, you already were considered bar and bat mitzvah. That is not why you are here. Something else motivated you to undertake this study and preparation, and we know you will stay involved here at CBI. Some thought leaders have suggested that we do bar and bat mitzvah at too young an age. It should be deferred until the process can be more appreciated, so that it won't be about parties and cash gifts. To get a sense of what bar and bat mitzvah can mean, they should just interview you all. You are all inspirations. You each have an interesting journey to today, and for you, the journey will not stop here. If you'll grab your Sederim a moment, I want to draw your attention to page 206. It contains a nearly 2,000-year-old passage from the Mishnah called Elu Devarim. It lists 10 mitzvot that are said to be rabbinic 10 commandments, or acts that are limitless and without measure. It concludes by saying that the study of Torah leads to them all. Through study, we gain rich and meaningful life. In the years to come, I look forward to studying with you and learning from you. Yasher Koach.
I want to wish Mazel Tov to all of the family members, those who are related, blood related, and those who are related by virtue of being part of Congregation Beth Israel as part of a family of families. And before I address all of our kids up here on the bima, I just want to say thank you to all of you for giving the strength and the courage, the time, the patience to allow all of our adult B'nai Mitzvah to learn Hebrew. That started a while ago, over a year ago, to attend rehearsals and to sing and chant prayers from their iPods and iPads, probably at all times of day and night, that weren't always convenient. You are part of the mitzvah and bringing people to the study of Torah, bringing them to the learning of Hebrew, bringing them to the creation of the beautiful speeches. That is a great mitzvah too. You have all played such an important role in their becoming adult bar and bat mitzvah with your love and your encouragement, but I really want you to be mindful that you have fulfilled a great mitzvah of bringing another human being closer to the study of Torah. That is what creates the balance in a world that is filled with chaos, is our doing mitzvot, especially the kind of mitzvot that have nothing to do with us getting anything, but allow other people to feel the strength and the power and the courage that it takes to do something like today. So please be mindful of that, and I know how grateful they are, but how grateful we are also for your incredibly critical role. I'll be right back. So my friends, I have known many of you. I have known many of you for 15 years. I have known some of you for a few years. I do want to give a special shout out today to Cantor and to Rabbi, but also, of course, to Jason Bronowitz, our rabbinic intern. I know, Jason is everyone's favorite human being. You're not alone. And he is in Mexico doing a wedding this weekend. And you know he would have been here. This was originally planned for next weekend, and we, before we announced it with you, we moved it to this weekend. Rabbi Mason Barkin, Cantor Edinger, Jason, and I are all kvelling with your families today. I also want to give a shout out to Rabbi Keller, because I know a lot of you were brought into Jewish peoplehood under his guidance and his efforts. And while I should tell you now that going through conversion with me is about 1/8 as difficult as it is with Rabbi Keller, I know he's hard on you. I know how much pride he would feel to see you today. But the transition for our congregation and the beauty of doing this on Installation Weekend, I think, is so appropriate because Cantor Edinger and Rabbi Mason Barkin and I are part of this next step and stage in your lives. I know the Cantor can't wait to continue training you to chant Torah and even maybe Haftorah for all of those summer Shabbatot when we will need some help so that we can take some days off and some vacation and go up to camp. We'll be calling upon you to chant Torah. You will be a Torah troop, if you will, and I know he can't wait. Rabbi Mason Barkin and I can't wait to have you all probably lead services and write sermons now for, I don't know, High Holy Days and Torah study. But in looking at the future, together, I want to say there is also one thing that you're not aware of that you did today. I think everything that I've said you're well aware of because you keep nodding. You're not aware of the fact that there are members of our congregation sitting in the congregation today who have just made the decision over the last hour and a half to they themselves become adult bar and bat mitzvahs. They looked at your courage and saw that you could do it, and not just do it, but do it with a very special character in Judaism that we talked about the very first night of our bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah class, which is kavanah, that you can do it with intention and mindfulness and meaning and purpose. There are people in the congregation who have thought to themselves with some sadness that they weren't able to become bar bat mitzvah for one reason or another. Maybe it was for reasons like Jackie was talking about with Yetta, or maybe like Sam, they've wanted to do it for years and years and years, and thank God they've been able to live into their 90s and finally have the opportunity. Maybe they too went through conversion. Maybe they were women who were raised during a time when becoming bat mitzvah was not mainstream. Whatever the case is, whether you know it or not or accept it or not, you have inspired people in our community, in our congregation, and they will approach Rabbi Mason Barkin and Cantor Edinger and me while eating bagels with the question, when is the next class start? That inspiration that you've put out there, that kavanah that you have shared with us, that energy and enthusiasm and very hard work that you put into this moment, that is what makes this congregation great. It's not the clergy, it's not the leadership, it's not our volunteers. It's all of the above. But really, it's the energy and the kavanah that is shared on the bima on days like today. That's what keeps people here. It's what helps them understand what it means to be part of a community. If we look at your parsha, your Torah portion, Jacob, at a very, very young age, is given a very similar responsibility, the brit, the covenant. We learn in your parsha whether there's sibling rivalry or whether he gets very sneaky about selling the birthright to Esau, who's starving, and I know what that feels like, so I'll go faster, or joins with his mom Rebecca in tricking Isaac into the blessing. Whatever it is, he's part of a covenant now. He receives the covenant from his grandfather Abraham and his father Isaac, and now it becomes his responsibility to pass it on. So we're standing here 4,000 years later with the same purpose, the same responsibility, the same idea of what it means to be part of a covenant. And I want to tell you how inspirational, again, you have been, how special it has been. My prayer for you on this Shabbat, again, whether I've known you the entire time I've been here or just for a few years, my prayer for you, our prayer for you, is that you never take for granted this brit, this covenant that we have with God, that we have with Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Whether you know it or not, the inspiration that can come from the knowledge of what it means to be part of that covenant, the kavanah that you can have, that you can share with us, the intention and integrity with which you approach this, that changes worlds for people, and it changes lives for people. And in a very topsy-turvy, upside-down, and chaotic world, it brings order to the chaos. You have done what the Kabbalists say, which is not to end the evil, not to end the chaos, not to end poor people, but to create balance, with the knowledge that the more we create that balance and do our covenantal job, which is to fulfill mitzvot, the higher the likelihood that the world will get back to order. The rabbis wanted us to do this, l'taken olam b'malchut Shaddai, to repair the world for the purposes of bringing the world closer to perfection. I want to thank you on behalf of everybody sitting here today for bringing our world closer to perfection, for repairing the world. May you continue to build on this moment, on this covenant, to pass it to your children and to your grandchildren, Lador Vador, for the generations to come, and to know that you can change worlds, that you can change lives, and that you can change the trajectory of our people and the world around us for the better through acts like today. Thank you so much for the honor of being able to participate with you. It's our pleasure now to ask for God's blessings upon you and to invoke these words from Aaron from thousands of years ago for you. And we decided that this would be a great moment to also invite your families, your children, or your parents if they're with us, or whoever it is that you already invited to come up on the bima. So I'd like to ask everyone here to join with me and Rabbi Mason Barkin in the cantor in front of the Arona Kodesh, and invite those family members, your, again, parents, kids, siblings, spouses, partners, to join with us and to surround you with love as we ask for God's blessings. And everyone else, please stand as the Arona Kodesh is open.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's face shine upon you and always be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom shalom. Ve'asem lecha shalom, shalom. Hit it, Jackie. Siman tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and siman tov and mazel tov and siman tov and mazel tov and siman tov. Yehelanu, 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 ulechol Israel. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Israel. Siman tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and siman tov and mazel tov and siman tov and mazel tov and siman tov. Yehelanu.
Please have a seat. Of course, it would not be a bar or bat mitzvah without the presentation of gifts. So I'd like to ask Steve Bressler and Jackie to come back up to the pulpit. We have, of course, our Torah scrolls in lucite with the name of all of our B'nai Mitzvah on them and today's date. And I'd like to call them forward now to receive. And if you guys want to leave your Torahs on here so you don't have to schlep them back to your chairs, that's fine. But you can come and grab your certificates. So Lisa Aronin. And the youngest member of our class, Sam Baker. And daughter of a wonderful past president of blessed memory, Don Lubin, Beth Bloom. Beth Bloom. And I call her Bubby. You know her, you love her. Yetta Gettleman. And still newlyweds in every important way, Shannon and Alex. It's very romantic that they did this as a couple. And a wonderful member of our board of directors, Allison Kierman. And a very good friend and very cool woman, Terry Switsky. And another very cool woman, Dana Tonsing. And you know him, you love him, you can't live without him, although none of us really know what he does for a living. Omar Trevino.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Let's give them all a hand. It's okay. I hope everyone will be able to join us for our wonderful Kiddush as we celebrate all of our adult B'nai Mitzvah in the ballroom following services. I really want to thank Yetta and Terry and everybody in the class who did so much work in organizing our Kiddush luncheon. I want to give a shout out to Ian Schulder, our executive director, and to Kathy Brewer, who had a previous plan today, could not be here, but Kathy did so much work to make sure our Kiddush luncheon worked. I want to acknowledge all of our senior staff members who are here and tell you how proud on their behalf we are of all of you. We're going to be concluding now with Aleinu and Kaddish. Before we do so, there's a wonderful tradition at the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion that before ordination, rabbinic ordination, they ask us to give any names of loved ones that we can say before Kaddish, people who had an amazing Jewish influence on our hearts and in our lives. And so in addition to the yahrzeit names that have been requested to be read aloud, I just want you to know that I'll be have the honor of reading the names of many individuals who made such a special and significant Jewish mark on the lives of our adult B'nai Mitzvah before Kaddish, even if it's not their yard site. So we get the honor of acknowledging and remembering all of them. We're going to continue now with Aleinu, and then, as I said, with Kaddish, and then go out into the rotunda for Kiddush and Hamotzi. Please stand for Aleinu, page 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ.
ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
On this Shabbat, we share our deepest sympathies as we note the passing of Joanne Gordon, wife of Jerry Gordon, who was recently laid to her eternal rest. We also, as a congregation, remember those of our congregational family whose yard sites occur this week. Their names have been lovingly listed on our Shabbat flyer. As a congregation, we also remember with love and affection Sylvia Kashkett, Burton Schwab, Rabbi Tomas Trevino, Roger Gettleman, Sam Gettleman, Melvin Hill, Sandra Savlin, Jacob Cohen, Daniel Tonsig, Patricia Brown, Beatrice Culloden, Harold Blickstein, Don Lubin, Scott Lubin, Jerry Aronin, Robert Switsky, Judy Yeager, Rabbi Morton Shine, Janet Baker, Morris and Ida Baker, Alma Lerner, Harriet Greenberg. If anyone in the congregation would like to say out loud the name of a loved one you would like us to take into our hearts with our own on this Shabbat, please do so at this time. May their memories continue to be a blessing, l'dor v'dor, for the generations to come. May their souls be bound up in the bonds of eternal life. Together we join, if you are mourning, for Kaddish, page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'yalma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'alam Le'omei Amaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Dekudsha B'richu. Le'la min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to those who are grieving. As together we say, Amen. We have our concluding song, and then we will see you in the rotunda for Kiddush and Hamotzi.
We join together in a prayer for peace. Oseh shalom. Oseh shalom b'mromav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.